Did you follow a plot bunny and now you are completely off track? Plot bunnies can be fun, they can be exciting, they can lead us to amazing discoveries. But sometimes they can also leave us lost and confused and frustrated. Sometimes when you get lost, you have no idea how to find your way back. Today, let me show you a really fun plot bunny tarot spread to help you get back on track. Hi, I'm Jennifer Gregson, a book coach who uses tarot to help writers start and finish their novels all with a smile on their face. So you might be asking yourself, what actually is a plot bunny? Never heard that term before. A plot bunny is a story idea that refuses to leave you alone until you've actually followed it. And it predates NaNoWriMo, but man oh man does it happen a lot during those November writing sessions. Before I show you the tarot spread and actually do it in real time, let me ask you a couple of questions. Look at your story, look at what you have written in your outline and see how far off you actually are, and if there's anything from your detour that you want to keep. And just sort of jot that down. Like, let's say you started your story here and you're pretty far off, but honestly, you kind of like where you went. You just want to marry some of that, merge it a little bit with your original story idea. That's where this tarot spread comes in. It is 6 questions. I'm going to be using the Modern Witch Tarot deck again, and although I technically haven't gone off into any plot bunnies yet with my novel, I'm going to pretend that I have so that I can do this tarot spread for you. So right now in my novel, the elemental magical girls have all met. The teen girls have all met and they've all shared their powers. Some are more competent than others, some are more confident than others, some don't want to be there. There is some conflict around that. And the plot bunny that I might have taken is how the magic came to be. Because in my original story, I had written down a lot of what ifs. Like, what if the power came from a very natural source, some magical world? What if the power is somehow connected to an evil corporation? And I kind of didn't like that second idea. But let's say as I'm writing, that idea keeps cropping up and I follow the plot bunny, and I have now landed on this evil CEO, sort of like a Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk type of evil white male character. And that can be fun to explore, but let's say I'm not in love with where it went and I'd like to get back on track. So I'm going to shuffle the cards and then I'm going to tell you the first prompt, which is, what is your plot bunny trying to tell you? Okay, so the 4 of Cups. This is all about sort of not seeing what's right in front of you. Like, there's a gift being offered to this person and she's being very apathetic. She's not paying attention. She's very zoned out. But so what is the plot bunny of this crazy CEO trying to tell me? That maybe the actual magic needs to be more in our face. Maybe the teen girls, the elemental magic girls with their powers, need to somehow see it as a gift. Maybe there is some sort of issue with that I didn't address. And this plot bunny has sort of shown me that, saying, hey, you went off into this, this CEO, which really isn't important. But the plot bunny is trying to say, the real issue here is that they need to see it as a gift. It's not given to them from some evil person, right? And then what is my main character trying to tell me? Because sometimes, most of the time, plot bunnies come out of your main character. So let's see what Ruby has to say about this plot bunny. So another 4, which is very interesting. I'm getting a lot of 4s. There's a lot of middle ground, right? With 4s and 5s, sort of the middle-ish area. There's a lot of hoarding here in this card. She's sort of holding on, and it's sort of similar to this where she wasn't holding anything. Now she's like hoarding everything. So the plot bunny is saying, hey, see this as a gift. And my main character is almost saying that she's scared. She wants to hoard this elemental magic. She doesn't want to share it with others. And isn't that interesting? And the fact is that if it came from sort of this evil CEO type corporation, it would be seen as not a gift. And I want the magic to be seen as a gift. And at some point, I want Ruby to feel comfortable sharing it. And right now, with this plot bunny, she does not. Okay, so how would my plot bunny solve this? She would look at my ending. So the 10s are always about sort of the ending of the cycle, the ending of the suit. And so maybe I need to look at where I want my story to go and work backwards a little bit and maybe finesse a little bit of my outline so that I'm very, very, very clear about the direction I want to go. It's also about happy families, and the end of my story, I really want them to feel like a family, and maybe I need to start incorporating that earlier. Now I have to ask how the main character would solve this bunny. The moon. The moon is always a lot about trusting your instincts, following your dreams, being in touch with that like wild side. So maybe my character would solve this plot bunny by doing something really daring, like really daring, and maybe not following this plot line at all. Maybe really listening to my heart, listening to the fact that I wasn't a fan of this story to begin with. And I think the cards are picking up on that, to just chuck it completely and go backwards. Now, with NaNoWriMo, if this happens, my tip is do not get rid of those words, because you wrote them and they count toward your 50,000 word limit, you know, the goal. So do not throw those away. But what I would do is I would maybe put them at the end of the document, keep them there, and just say plot bunny that I'm no longer using. And then you can get rid of it when you start actually revising this novel. You can just change it to a different color, a different font. You can turn it white and then just put a note at the top. Plot bunny chapter, ignore, whatever you want to do, whatever needs to happen. But I would just push it to the end. I use Scrivener, so I might even just put it in a different card and just put it at the bottom, and then on the index, the digital index card, write plot bunnies so that I can kind of keep track of those things. So you get to decide that, but do not throw away words, especially if you followed the plot bunny for a couple of chapters. Those words should count still towards your NaNoWriMo goal, okay? Okay, so 2 more questions. So we've asked sort of the plot bunny, we've asked the main character. Now we're going to turn it back to ourselves and ask, what's one creative solution that I can do as the author to fix this plot bunny, this getting off track issue? And it's going back to the drawing board. She is literally at a drafting table here drawing something. And I think it's rethinking maybe even how I want the magic to show up, who gave them the magic, where the magic came from. Maybe this card is literally telling me that both ideas kind of stank because I went off track. And like I said, I didn't technically do this, but I'm not married to the first idea I had either, to be honest with you. So maybe this is literally telling me, hey, take a couple of sessions, do some journaling, figure out where the magic came from, because it's going to be important to the story. And now just a card about how I can move forward. I think of this card a little bit as like, what can I let go of so that I can move forward? But let's see what the card says. So basically, this card's a little bit about grief. So I think one thing you need to do to move forward in this kind of situation is grieve the fact that you are going to have to chuck some words, that you're going to have to eventually delete things. That is part of the process, but it can be really, really, really difficult, especially if this is the first time you're doing NaNoWriMo or writing a novel. But this is part of the process, which is why I say don't throw those words away. Even if you're not doing NaNoWriMo and you're watching these videos later, even if you don't have a word count goal that you're really trying to reach by the end of a month, it helps to keep that stuff, to show you that you did write it, and you never know what might come up later. So I kind of feel like you need to grieve a little bit. There's a little bit of a process that needs to happen, and that it's okay to be like, well, those 3 ideas didn't work, but hey, there's 2 cups behind me. There are 2 things. There are still options. I have choices. I have ideas. I am not down for the count, but man, it sucks that I had to like go off this detour a little bit. It can definitely be a blessing in disguise. skies, but it is sometimes, it's hard to get into that mindset. Quick side note, the novel that I just self-published not that long ago, the very first draft that I did, I had to throw it in the digital trash. The entire first draft, 70,000 words, had to go bye-bye, and I had to start all the way over, and it was devastating. But it was really, honestly and truly, for the most part, the best thing I could have ever done, because that book, it is literally one of the best things I've written. Like, I'm so proud of it. And it's called Etta and Gina. You can find it in the description box below, wink, wink. But it went on such a journey, and I had to take that journey, not only for the characters, but for myself as a writer. But it can be really hard. I grieved that decision. I grieved the process. I sat with my feelings. It's really tricky. And it helps if you don't have to throw it away. If you can still say, hey, those words still count, especially if you're doing NaNoWriMo and you have a writing count goal. But it does help to say, look, I still wrote that. Like, I can still say, I wrote that whole draft, and I'm really proud of that draft, even if it wasn't the story I eventually wanted to tell. So to get back on track a little bit, sorry about that side note little story, but plot bunnies can be really fun. They can get you really cool places. And sometimes you just need a little nudge back, and sometimes you need to start all the way over. And it's okay. Everyone does it in first drafts. It is especially important to do it in NaNoWriMo because you don't know your story as well as like a second or third draft. First drafts are made for plot bunnies, and they are fun. So go have your little plot bunny moments, and if you get stuck, use this tarot spread. And it is still not too late to join my free accountability group. We are having weekly writing sessions that are super, super fun. I'm still sending out writing prompts, tarot spreads, things to try, check-ins on Friday. So please see the description box below for the link to join. I would love to have you. Okay, so week 2 of NaNoWriMo, we are halfway through. How are you feeling? How's the plot bunnies? Have you followed any? I would love to know. Please leave a comment below. And everyone, have a great time. Week 3 is right around the corner.